There's a beautiful sefer called Sipurei Hasidim. It was written by Rav Shlomo Yosef Zevin. He was one of the greatest scholars of our generation. He passed away approximately 35 years ago. He's also be'ikar, especially known, he was the editor of the Encyclopedia Talmudis. There's a encyclopedia which gathers a lot of information regarding things in the Gemara and the Talmud. It's an unbelievable piece of work. And he was the chief editor of it. So in one of his Sfarim, Sipurei Hasidim, he has a lot of beautiful stories. One of them, actually on this parsha, he has that there was a Jew who read in a sefer that if for 40 days you don't speak Dvarim B'Teilim, you don't speak speech which is nonsense, which is worthless, then you could be merit to have Ruach HaKodesh. You could have divine inspiration from the Eibishter and know many things. So he did that. For 40 days he didn't speak any Dvarim B'Teilim and no Ruach HaKodesh. So he came to the Baal Shem Tov and he told the Baal Shem Tov his problem. Baal Shem Tov looks at him and says, tell me, did you daven in these 40 days? Did you pray? He says, of course. Oh. Says the Baal Shem Tov, did you say Tehillim in these 40 days? He said, yeah, of course. Baal Shem Tov said, yeah, that is where your Dvarim B'Teilim were. Because there's a very famous word from the Baal Shem Tov on this week's parsha. One of the things that the Eibishter told Noach to do, the Eibishter told Noach, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. When you're going to make the teva, when you're going to make the ark, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. You should make a shrine to the teva. Teva is not only an ark. Teva is also words. A word in Hebrew is called a teva. Says the Baal Shem Tov, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. You should give a shine into the words of Torah and Tefillah. And when you give a shine into them, then you're going to merit to all the great things. And this is what the Baal Shem Tov was telling this person, that his davening and his tehillim also makes a difference. So therefore, we're going to be discussing a little bit this concept of Sohar ta'aseh lateva. When you give a look, B'li Ayin Hara today, and especially on the internet, there are hundreds and perhaps thousands of articles that discuss this whole concept of the teva, the ark, and what Sohar ta'aseh lateva, what does it mean to do, may give a shine into the words of Torah and Tefillah, etc. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go into the simple pshat in the pasuk of what these words actually mean with Rashi, and then the whole pshat is going to be much more gishmak, and it's going to be very interesting. And this is again another example how we see that it is not enough to learn just the pshat of the pasuk, the simple explanation. There are 4 levels. There's pshat, there's remez, there's drush, there's sod, there's the secrets of Torah, and especially pnimius HaTorah, Torah HaChasidus, and we will be able to see how when we have all of them together, it enhances the product and we understand the pasuk so much better. So therefore we're going to go now into the pasuk of Sohar ta'aseh lateva, and we are going to see that this is also one of the foundations of the whole concept of Hasidus Chabad. So let's go straight to our sources. In source number 1, it goes on Parsha Noach, Perik Vav, Pasuk Yud Daled and Tezvav. The Eibishter calls Noach and he says, Noach, the world looks the way it does, and therefore I want to bring a mabul, I'm going to bring a flood, and therefore I want you to make a teva. How do I want you to make a teva? Let's look inside source number 1. Asei lecha teva satzei gofer. Make for yourself a teva, a ark of atzei gofer, of wood of gofer. It's a certain type of wood. Kinim ta'ases teva. Kinim, says Rashi, madurim, which means compartments. You should make all kinds of compartments. And then the Eibishter goes through another few details. And then the Eibishter says as follows. V'zeh asher ta'aseh oisa. And this is how you should make the teva. Shloish me'ois amma oirech ha-teva. 300 amas should be the length of the teva. Chamishim amma rachba. 50 amas should be the width of the teva. U'shloishim amma kemasa. And 30 amas should be the height. Source number 2. Pasuk Tezayin. The pasuk says, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. You should make a tzohar to the teva. The simple translation of the word Sohar means a light, a shine to the teva, as we will soon see in Rashi. Ve'el amo techaleno milmalo. And as you finish making the roof, it should come to a point that is wide an amo. Ve'el amo techaleno, you should finish it milmalo at the top at an amo. Ufesach ha-teva, and the door of the teva, betzidotosim, you should put on the side. Tachtim, shnim, ushlishim, taseha. You should make it 3 levels. Rashi, what does Rashi say on this pasuk? I'm going to just do one Rashi. The Rashi on the word Sohar. Rashi says, what is this shine? What is this light? So Rashi will give us 2 options. Yesh oimrim chaloin. There are some that say that what is this light that he should bring into the teva? A window, chaloin. V'yesh oimrim. But some say, no. Even toiva hame'ira lohem. A stone, a precious stone. As we know, precious stones give out light. So we're not talking about a window, we're talking about a precious stone that he should bring into the teva, that will give light. Again, the pasuk says, tsoihar, a shine, a light. Comes Rashi and says, what is this light? We have 2 options. Either it means a window, or it means a precious stone. Why does Rashi have to explain it? Well, because the word Sohar, where does the word Sohar come from? The word Sohar comes from the word Tzoharayim. Tzoharayim, in simple Hebrew, means afternoon. Why is the afternoon called Tzoharayim? Because at that time, the sun is shining in its brightest way. So Tzoharayim means brightness. Therefore, says Rashi, Tzohar is also a shine, a brightness. How do we do it? We have these 2 options. Either a window or a stone. This is basically what Rashi does. There are a lot of issues here with this Rashi, and we're just going to mention some of them. The first one is, this makes absolutely no sense. The Rebbe tells Noach, you have to bring light into the teva. So what does he do? He makes chaloin, he makes 1 window. How could 1 window be enough for the whole teva? The whole teva is 300 amos long, has 3 floors, and not only that, we said before that he has to make compartments. So if he has only 1 window, what is that going to help? So something doesn't make sense here with this window. Second, this is something that we discussed many times when we learn a sikha from the Rebbe in Rashi. And by the way, I did mention before that this is a sikha in Likutei Sichos Chelik Yud Aleph, as you see in your sources right in the beginning, that this is in Likutei Sichos Chelik Yud Aleph, pages 19 and till 23, and the Fabrengen a few years later in Tafshim Mem Zayin in 1987. As we discussed in many sikhas, when the Rebbe brings a Rashi that has 2 explanations, there's a reason why Rashi brings both. Because it seems that Rashi wants to explain it to us one way, but the first explanation is not enough, so we need also the second one. But sometimes the second one is not enough, so we need the first. The simple example to it would be when a person wants to buy a house. What does he look for? Basically, 2 things. He looks for location and he looks for price. Now sometimes he may find an excellent location, but the price is just too much for him. He can't afford it. Or sometimes he finds the price is excellent, but the location is just too far from what he needs, from the shul, from the school, from the mikveh, whatever it may be. So therefore he has to compromise. He'll give in a little to the price and a little bit on the location, and then he'll be able to find what he needs. The same thing is with Rashi and Chumash. Many times Rashi will be able to explain something. He has a question on the pasuk and he gives an explanation. Sometimes, for whatever reason, Rashi cannot find a simple explanation, so therefore he brings one explanation, but there's still something that needs to be explained, so he'll give another option. But the other option has a problem, so we go back to the first. And when we have the 2, so we have sort of a balance of an explanation. So what we need to understand over here is, why does Rashi bring chaloim, that it's a window? What is the problem with it? So it's a window. Then Rashi says, no, window is not enough, we have to bring that it's a stone. And then, but he brings the stone, that's not enough, we have to bring the window. Why does he bring these 2 things? And why a window and stone? Why not other things, as we're going to be able to as we're going to see soon? Now we have another problem. If you look at source number 3, the pasuk says as follows. This is already after the Mabul. In Perik Ches pasuk Chav Beis. What does the Torah say? Source number 3. Oyit kol yemei haaretz. As long as the earth exists, Zera vekotzir vekoir vechoim vekayitz vechoiref beyom v'layla lo yishbeisu. The Rebbe says that as long as the earth exists, this time, the season of seed, when you seed the land, or the season when you cut the wheat, or cold or hot, summer, winter, day and night will never cease. Everything is going to go in order. Why does Hashem say that it's never going to cease? What happened that prompted the Rebbe to say this? What does Rashi say? V'yom v'layla lo yishbeisu. Day and night are not going to stop. They're going to go in sequence the whole year. Says Rashi, Michlal, from the fact that the Rebbe says this, what do we understand? Sheshavsu kol yemei samabul. That all the days of the Mabul, the mazalis, did not work properly. The seasons were not working properly. The mazolos did not work properly. And you couldn't tell day and night. It was dark the whole time. Wait a minute. If Rashi says that the time of the Mabul, which means a minimum of 40 days, it was dark the whole time, what does the light help? What does the window help? We say that the window is there for what? To bring in light. Rashi says clearly there was no light. So what does the window help? Not only that, what light did they have in those 40 days? According to the one that says that it's a window, how did they have light? Mele, the one that says that it was a stone. Okay, so the stone worked. But if they say that it's a window, how did it work? What did they do in those 40 days? It didn't make any sense. Another question. Let's go to source number 4. One of the Mefarshim on the Chumash is called the Cheskuni. The Cheskuni was about 750 years ago. He was also from the European, from the France, etc. And what does he say? He says Sohar. He gives a whole interesting explanation of why some say a window and some say a stone, etc. But then he comes with a beautiful pshat. He says Ulefi pshutoi. If you really want to have a simple pshat, what does Sohar mean? Tzoyar tasel ateva loshin yitzhar. The word tzoyar comes from the word yitzhar, as we say in Kriya Shema every day. The Rebbe will give you vesiroishcha veyitzharecha. What's yitzharecha? Oil. Yitzhar. So he says Pirush shemen tasel etzoyrecha teva lehoyirba. Make oil and bring it into the teva, so you'll have light without a problem. So, what does tzoyar come from? The word oil. Now, by the way, there's a little parenthesis here that he says, ve'ein lefarish chaloin, and you shouldn't say that tzoyar means a window, lehoyir bo, lehachnis bo oira, that it's there to bring in light. Why? Sheharei leshimshu amazolis lehadir kol yimei hamabul. Just what we asked before, because the mazolas didn't work throughout the time of the Mabul, so therefore you can't say that it was a window. So by the way, he also asks that question, what did the window help? So he says a very good pshat. What does tzoyar mean? Oil. Beautiful. So the question is, window, we have a problem. Stone, we have a problem. So, what does Rashi bring as a third, at least as a third pshat? Tzoyar. That it means oil. So he brought an oil into the teva. Everything will be fine. He works in the 40 days of the Mabul. No problem. And Rashi doesn't bring it at all. These are some of the questions that the Rebbe asks in Likutei Sichos Chelik Yud Aleph that we need to understand. Years later, in Tafshim Mem Zayin, in 1987, there was again a Fabrengen on Parshat Noach. And the Rebbe over here asked another question. The Rebbe says, why bichlal does Rashi have to explain what tzoyar means? Look at your number 5. Sichos Shabbos Parshat Noach. Lama Rashi bichlal tzorich lefarish ma ze tzoyar. Haben chomesh lemikre yedeh be'atzmei. You take a 5-year-old child who's learned chomesh, and you tell him, Hezechaim, you see that room over there? That room is dark. You want to see what's going on in there? Bring with you some light. You have to tell him how to bring in light? No. He could either bring a flashlight, he could bring matches, he could bring a candle, he could bring whatever he wants to bring. You tell him it's dark and he has to bring light, he'll bring it light. The Rebbeinu tells Noach, Sohar ta'aseh lateva, you have to bring in light because it's going to be dark in there. For whatever reason, the Rebbeinu said it. Why does Rashi have to explain how that light comes in? Noach is a smart man. He'll figure out already how to bring in light. So the question is, why does Rashi have to bring that Sohar means either a chaloin or a even, which are both problematic? So to make a long story short, and we're going to see something very, very interesting here, that this is a lesson for everyone in all times. But let's go now in the Pshuta Shel Mikra first. Let's take, for example, you want to build a house. Baruch Hashem, the Rebbeinu sent a nice chunk of money for whatever reason, and now you're going to build a house. So you sit down with a contractor and you show him that you want to make yourself this beautiful house in a certain area. And you discuss where you're going to have your dining room, your living room, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, everything, kitchen. And you also want to have outside a garage and a tennis court. Fine. Do you have to tell the contractor, please don't forget to put windows? Do you have to tell the contractor, don't forget to put doors? Do you have to tell them, don't forget to put light switches? No. There are things which are understood, which are normal for everyone to have. If you want to have a special type of window, you want to have it triangle windows, or you want to have whatever special type of window, so you come to the contractor and you say, I want to have not regular windows, but a special kind of window. I don't want to have a regular door, I want a special kind of door. Yeah, then you have to tell it to him. But do you have to tell him in general that he has to put in doors? No. You have to tell him that he has to put in windows? No. This is normal. All of a sudden comes over here the Taida, says the Rebbeinu to Noach, you're making a teva, I want you to put in a window. No, that makes absolutely no sense. It's impossible to say the Rebbeinu told him to put in a window, because Noach understands that himself. Let's see. Look in your source number 6. What does it say? In Perik Vav Pasuk Tazayin, the Rebbeinu comes to Noach and he tells him, Ufesach teva betzido tosim. The door of the teva you should put on the side. The Rebbeinu didn't tell him to put a door in the teva. That Noach is going to put on the teva a door, there's no question. What the Rebbeinu is telling Noach is that he should put it on the side in a specific way because there's going to be water, etc. But the Rebbeinu didn't have to tell him to put in a door. Go to the next source, number 7. When after the Mabul is over, what does the Torah say in Perek Ches Pasuk Yud Gimel? That Noach vayosar es michsei hateva. That Noach took off the cover of the teva. Does it say before when he made the teva that he put a cover? No. Did the Rebbeinu tell Noach to put a cover? No. Why? Because it's normal that if he's going to make this massive building, which is supposed to hold everybody in and protect them from water, that he's going to put a cover. So the same thing is with a window. The Rebbeinu did not have to tell Noach to put in any windows. Therefore, when the Rebbeinu comes and tells Noach to put in a tzoyhar, put in some light, he's not talking about the regular light. The regular light, Noach for sure brought in oil and lanterns and mices, things in order to put in lights because he knew he has to feed all the animals and everything. There's no question. The Rebbeinu came now and told him that he wants a special kind of light, a tzoyar ta'aseh lateva, a shine to put into the teva. So therefore comes Rashi and says, what is this extra shine that the Rebbeinu is asking for? What is it? Therefore comes Rashi and he says, we're going to have to figure this out. The first option, says Rashi, chaloin. It's a window. Later we're going to see what's so special about this window. But it means a window, because a window brings in light. However, there's a little bit of a problem with this, saying that it's a window. Why? Because first of all, one window is not enough for the whole teva, as we said before. And second of all, the first 40 days when it was dark, there was no daylight, no daylight, there was no day and night. So then over there, the window didn't help anything. So just to say that it means a window is not enough. It doesn't seem together with the pasuk. Therefore comes Rashi and says a second pshat. That what does it mean? Even toiva, a precious stone. The precious stone takes care of both problems. The precious stone, you have a problem that you have a whole teva, not a problem. You take this precious stone, you go with it. It's like a flashlight. You walk around wherever you need light, you're going to go and put it. And that also takes care of the first 40 days. There was no daylight, but they had a stone. So that takes care of it. However, to say that Sohar means a stone That also has a few problems. What's the problem? Very simple. The pasuk says, Sohar ta'aseh la teva. A tzoyar, a shine you should make in the teva, not bring in to the teva. You should make in the teva. So if you say that it means to make a window, that's normal. But if you say it means to bring in a stone, opposite doesn't shtim. And second of all, that the Rebbe should say to bring in a stone that brings in light, this is something which is not regular. Therefore comes Rashi and says, let's go back to the concept of chaloin, of a window. This is in the very simple. But let's try taka to understand. What is this concept of this window here? And Rashi brings that as the first option. When we want to know what brings in a shine to the teva is a window. Why? What's this window here? We have so many questions on it. And let's look inside in our sources over here. We're going to see something very, very interesting. In this whole story of the teva, we see that Rashi tries to explain to us every single detail that the Rebbe told Noach to do with the teva. Rashi tries to explain to us why. Why did the Rebbe say to do this? Why did the Rebbe say to do that? Look in your source number 8. The first thing the Rebbe tells Noach is, make an ark. What does Rashi say, Rashi? Why did the Rebbe give him such a big job to make this massive teva which took 120 years, etc.? Well, why? And Rashi gives a whole explanation. So this is what the people are going to see, what he's doing, they're going to do tshuva, etc., etc. Okay? Next source, number 9. In the same pasuk. How should he make the teva? With what material? Atzei goifer. Wood from goifer. Says Rashi, Veloma meminzeh. Why does he have to do it from this type? And Rashi gives a whole explanation. What's so special about this wood that he should make the teva? Next source, number 10. Perik Vav Pasuk Yudalit. The Rebbe says, V'chafarto oisa mibayis u'bichutz b'keifer. You should smear it, you should coat it with tar on the inside, on the outside. And Rashi explains, why does he have to do it with tar? Mipnei chayzek hamayim. Because there's going to be a lot of water, etc., etc. Source number 11. Pasuk Tezayin. Ve'el amo techaleno milmala. That the teva should end up on a slant to an amo, the roof. Says Rashi, why? Kedei sheyozuvu hamayim lemato mikanu mikan. So this way the waters are going to go down from both sides. Next source, number 12. Perik Vav Pasuk Tezayin. The pasuk that Rebbe tells Noach, Tachtim, Shnim, Ushlishim, that the teva should be 3 floors. Why 3 floors? Answers Rashi, Elyonim la'adam, Emtsoim la'modar, Tachtim la'zevel, for the people, for the living quarters, for the garbage, etc. So we see that Rashi is out to explain to us almost every single detail of the teva. If that's the case, over here with Sohar is the same thing. Rashi wants to explain to us, what does the Rebbe want with this Sohar? So, the Rebbe wants an extra light. How are we going to make this extra light, this extra shine? The Rebbe says, Sohar taseh la teva, make an extra shine to the teva. How is he going to do it? With a window. Why? Let's look at the next source. Number 13. This is the Rebbe in the Contextualizing how he explains it. The Rebbe says, "Velochem pirish Rashi chaloin." That's why Rashi says, "What's this shine? A window." Why a window? Kiven de me'atzmoi lo yehoya Noach oiseh chaloin. The Rebbe says exactly the opposite of what we thought before. We said before that Noach on his own would know to make a window. Comes the Rebbe and says no. Noach would have never made a window to the teva. Why? Because the Rebbe told him in Pasuk Yud Gimel, that the Rebbe is going to wipe out the whole world. He's not going to leave anything over. The mistaber, and it seems, the nemru loy protei ha'onish, that the Rebbe told Noach the details of the punishment that he's going to do. Koilel sheleshimshu hamazolos. including this fact that the mazolos are not going to work, and there's not going to be a difference in day and night, it's going to be dark. So Noach in his mind, if the Eibishter is going to make such a period of time when it's going to be dark, why should he have a window? He doesn't need it for light, for sure not. And not only that, having a window when it's pouring rain, it may cause floods, it may cause leaks, it may be not worth it. So Noach, knowing what the Eibishter is going to bring a mabul, he would have befeidish not made a window. However, when it came to the fact, something very interesting happened. What happened then? Let's go to the next source, 14, and then we'll come back here and we'll see something very interesting what this window did. In the story of the Mabul, look in source number 14, Pedig Zayin Pasuk Yud Beis, the Eibishter says, Vayhi hageshem ala oretz. The rain was on the world. Says Rashi, the rain? Ulehalon hu omer vayhi hamabul. Later, what does the Eibishter say? Vayhi hamabul, the flood was there. How does he call it rain if later he calls it mabul flood? Says Rashi, Ela, keshe hoyridon berachamim. When the flood started, when the mabul started, it was a regular rain. It wasn't a flood, it was a rain. Why? She'im yachzeru yihiyu gishmei bracha. Because if the people would do tshuva, the Eibishter would leave that water as gishmei bracha, as a rain of blessing. Unfortunately, they did not do tshuva. Hayu lemabul. They turned into a mabul. So we see over here that when the Eibishter started the mabul, he started with the regular, nice, beautiful rain. It was just a message to the people, Chevre, do tshuva because this could turn into a mabul. Will you do tshuva? Everything will be fine. If you won't do tshuva, then it's going to be a problem. So let's go back now to 13. Noach, we said, would have not made a window. Why? Because the Eibishter told him that there's not going to be mazoles, it's not going to be day and night, so you don't need it. What happened at the fact? Hoyridon berachamim. The Eibishter sent the water in a way of rachamim, in pity. Im yachzeru yishu gishme bracha. Lachain, therefore, gam nitztave la'asais chaloin. That's why Noach was told to make a window. What does the window show? If he would have made a closed area, then people would know that there's going to be a babel and that's it, it's over. The moment the rain comes down, it's over, it's finished. Mashe'ein kain, if Noach makes a window, what does the window show? No, there's not going to be a mabul. It's going to be a regular rain. Because if it would be a mabul, he wouldn't put a window. What's the point of putting a window if it's going to be dark? That's why he made the window. The window was the shine to the teva. It was the message to the people, you could still do tshuva. It may still be just regular rain. I'll prove it to you. I'm making a window. The window just shows on the concept that this is going to be just regular rain, not a mabul, and there's going to be day and night, and that's why I need a window, because there's going to be day. So what is the concept of Sohar? Give a shine to the teva. While the message of the teva to the people was that Eibishter is going to destroy the world, there's a shiny corner to it that says to the people, there is still a chance. This may still be only gishmei bracha, plain rain, not a mabul. Therefore, says Rashi, what can he show to the people when he's building this massive teva, that there is a corner that shows that maybe it will still not be a mabul? That window. So that window wasn't there to bring in light into the teva, into every corner of the teva. It was a point on the teva to show what the whole teva is all about. Imagine you go and you see a jail. When you look at a jail, all the rooms have bars on the windows. So you know this place, there's no chance someone goes in, they'll be able to get out. But imagine if you see all the windows have bars, there's one window right in the middle, it has no bars. What does the person who's going to jail think? The first thing that he thinks of, you know what, I hope they give me that room that has no bars, so he has a way out. So even that one window could send a message over here that, hey, it may not be such a jail after all. And this was the message that the Eibishter told Noach. At the same time when you're building a teva, You're sending a message to the people. Send a message of shine, that this, you could still come back to the Eibishter, and this is not going to turn into a Mabul. So now we understand why Rashi brings Chaloin as the first option for a Sohar, because obviously the Even Tova is not going to bring that message, because the Even Tova is something which is in the Teva. So if that is the case, we have to understand, so why does Rashi give us these two options of a Chaloin and the Even Tova? And for sure there must be something a little deeper here. So now let's go, and we're going to see something unbelievable of the concept of the window and the Even Tova. Look at your source number 15. In Sefer HaMamorim Tafshim Mem Zayin, there's a Maimer, there's the discourse from the Rebbe. I had the great zchus of being there when the Rebbe said it. The Maimer is on the words Sohar Tasel HaTeva. The Rebbe says as follows, in your source number 15. V'hine yodua gam hapirush. There's also known the famous pshat me'akeser Shem Tov, from the Baal Shem Tov. Ba'pasuk Sohar Tasel HaTeva. On the pasuk Sohar Tasel HaTeva. The inyan Sohar Tasel HaTeva. Who? What is the concept of Sohar Tasel HaTeva? You should make a shine to the Teva. Shebitchila, in the beginning, hoyo hagzardin milamayla al inyan hamabel. In the beginning, the Eibishter made a decree that there's going to be a Mabul. And this is what the Eibishter tells Noach. Although I said there's going to be a Mabul, your job is to make a tzoyhar to the teva, to make a shine. What does that mean? He should switch it from midas adin to midas arachamim. Min tzara tzoyhar. Tzara and Tzoyar are the same letters. Tzara is Tzadik Resh, Tzoyar is Tzadik Hei Resh. Noach should take from Tzara, which means a problem, and switch it to Tzoyar. How do you do that? You can't just switch things. It continues in the Maimeh Pirush, Dehine Isa B'Sefer Yetzirah. It says in Sefer Yetzirah, which is a Sefer of Kabbalah, it explains over there that in the Torah there are a lot of things that because they have the same letters, we could take it and switch one for the other. There's a lot of example to it. For example, Shabbos is 3 letters, Shin, Beis, Tov. The Alter Rebbe explains, and Tanya brings it from earlier Sfarim, that Shabbos is the same letters as Toshev, which means returning, things return to their source, etc. So the same thing over here. While at the same time when the Eibishter is about to take and destroy the world, and that's why he tells Noach, build up Teva. Says the Eibishter, but let's still try to change the course of events. Let's still try to change the Gzar Din from Din to Rachamim. So therefore Noach should take from the Teva, Tzoyhar Tasel Teva, turn it into something shiny. How is he going to do that? Either through a Chaloim or through Even Tov. How is that? Very simple. What is the Teva? The Teva is this protection from the world. The world is the place where there's going to be a Mabul, where it is going to be destroyed. A person sees only negativity, and therefore there's a Teva where a person could protect himself. Comes the Eibishter and says, no. This is wrong. The world is the Eibishter's house. This is the Dira B'Tachtonim, this is the Eibishter's house. We have to show the truth. Tzoyhar Tasel HaTeva. We have to bring out a shine. How we're going to do that? Look in your source number 16. Here's where we bring the two concepts of the Chaloin and the Even Tov, which is two steps one after the other. It says over here in Likutei Sichos as follows. This is from the Sefer HaMaimorim Tafshim Beis. Ha'hefresh ben ha'oir shenichnas al yedei Chaloin leha'oir shal yedei Even Tov. What is the difference between the light that comes in from a window and the light that comes from a stone? Oir hachaloin hu oir habomi bachutz. The light from a window is light that comes in from the outside. The room is dark. I open the window, and now the room becomes light. Oir Even Tova, however, the light from a stone, meir mi bifnim, hainu me'atzmusay umahusay. The light, the shine from a stone, it comes from within the stone to the outside. As chaloin, a window, is the light from outside coming in. The light from a stone, that is something that from the stone it comes out. What does this mean? Very simple. Let's look in source number 17. In Hayoim Yoim of Zayin Tishrei. It says, Bechol drochecha do'eil. In everything that a person does, he should try to find the Eibishter. He explains over there, Ha'adam hasom liboy v'daitoi al kol hanase imoy umisaviv loy. A person that looks around to everything that's happening around him, royehu eleikus b'muchash. He says eleikus, he sees eleikus, godliness, in a very tangible way. U'kamei she'amar admur ha'imtzoi, like the Mittel Rebbe said, Beyisrin habali asokim ala yoshvei oihel beinyin re'iyas eleikus b'muchash. The Mittel Rebbe explains that we see that business people see godliness more than the people who are sitting in yeshiva and in shul davening and learning. A person who sits in shul, learns Torah, obviously sees godliness, right? Not really. He sees the godliness because he's learning Torah. The moment he walks out in the street, he sees a dark world, he tries to find godliness, he runs right back into his shul if he wants to find godliness. But in the street, he cannot find it. A person who is in business, a person who's in the store, a whole day he sees godliness. Every time a customer comes in and says, oh, thank God, thank you, Eberste, for sending me this customer. When there are no customers coming in, what does he do? Eberste, please send me customers. And all of a sudden a customer comes in, oh, Eberste, thank you very much for sending me customers. So a person, when he's in the business, when he's out there in the world, he sees Elikus much better than someone who is sitting in the Bis Medrash. And that's why we see something very interesting. I'm not going to go now into the whole thing, but there is a beautiful sikha from the Rebbe in Pasha Chukas regarding the mitzvah of challah. You have to take off challah from the dough. How much baker has to take off one small part, 1 from 48. A person at home has to take a bigger portion from challah. Why? Why does a person at home have to take more challah than the baker? Very simple. What is the concept of challah? To remind you that there's an Eibishter. Here's your food. Hey, hold it. There's an Eibishter here. You have to give him part of it. A person who is at home doesn't see godliness the whole time. He has to have a bigger reminder. A baker who is in the store, he sees godliness the whole day. Every time a customer comes in, he says, thank God. And every time a customer doesn't come in, he says, please God. So therefore, he doesn't need a much reminder of godliness. So therefore, even just a little piece. What do we see here? That there are those who see godliness, b'muchash, even someone who's in business. How does he do that? He goes out to the world, and all of a sudden the world looks dark. He opens a window, and he lets in the Eibishter. And this cover-up, he opens it. The world seems to cover up on the Eibishter. He opens up a window, and he lets in the Eibishter. That is the first step. But that is not enough. A person not only has to let in the Eibishter, he has to internalize the Eibishter and bring the Eibishter out to the world. A person cannot just stand there and absorb. This is the chaloin. A chaloin is a window. You let in the light inside. Beautiful. But that's only the first step. Comes the Torah and says, there's a world out there, and you want to protect yourself in the teva. The teva is there to protect you. That's not enough. You have to make a Sohar ta'aseh teva. What does that mean? There's 2 steps. Step number 1 is, don't look at the world in such a dark way. There's light out there. There's a likus. You just have to open up a window and see it and appreciate it, and then you'll be able to see it. That's that chaloin. But that's not enough. Once you let in a likus, develop it enough that you should turn into a even toiva, into a stone, hameir Elohem, that lights out there. And that's what Rashi says. Yesh oimrim chaloin. The first step is, how do you bring a shine into the world? Let the Eibishter in. Give him space. Open up a window. Like in English you say, a window. What is a window? A person finds a window of an opportunity, an opening. Open up to the Eibishter. Give him space. That's the first step. The second step is, Even Teva, we have to become a leader. And this is something which is a foundation in Chassidus Chabad. we find something that makes the Rebbe different than all leaders in the world. And this is something which a few years ago, for those of you who remember by the Kinus HaShluchim, there's a Jew who has done so much for Yiddishkeit, Reb Lev Levayev. He said something beautiful. He said, look, he lives in Israel, in Bnei Brak. He says, I see a lot of leaders, good people. They all have big groups around them. However, their focus is on their group. Make sure that they're all set up properly, they all have a good education, they all have a good family, etc. Yes, that is their mission here. The Rebbe was not looking for shluchim, for chassidim. The Rebbe is not looking for followers. The Rebbe is not looking to make Lubavitch bigger. The Rebbe is looking for one thing only. The Rebbe is looking for leaders. Any person that comes in contact with the Rebbe, he gets inspired by the Rebbe, he lets the Rebbe in, chaloin, says the Rebbe, no, that's not enough. You have to become an even toivo hameira. The Rebbe took anybody who doesn't know anything. The Rebbe asked him a simple question. Excuse me, do you know Aleph? That there's a letter called Aleph? The person would answer yes. The Rebbe would say, how many friends do you have that never heard of the letter Aleph? You have such friends. Now you already have an obligation. You have to go and teach them Aleph. And from the Aleph that you teach them, they're going to learn Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, the Aseres HaDibros. This is the Rebbe's message to every single person. Regardless of your background, it makes no difference. You don't have to be a Rav, you don't have to be somebody who learned in yeshiva. Every single person who received something, chaloin, he opened up and received something, he has to be already a Even Toiva HaMeira. We are now in the time, here in America right now, is in the fever of the elections. What is the elections? A person goes out there and he campaigns and he says, you give me, I will give you. If you vote for me, I will give you this and this break and that break, etc. Lehavdil by the Rebbe, it's the total opposite. The Rebbe is not looking for people to follow. The Rebbe is looking for people to lead. Even toiva hameira lohem. And when we are all going to become this Even toiva hameira lohem, we're going to bring a shine to the teva. This is going to make the whole world shine. And now we can understand why the Rebbe told Noach Sohar ta'aseh lateva. At the same time when he told him, I want you to make a teva to protect yourself from the whole world, because the whole world seems to be wicked. At the same time the Rebbe gave a message to the world and to Noach. At the same time, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. Give a shiny corner into the teva that people should see, hey, no, things are not that bad. At the moment we take off the cover, all of a sudden everything starts shining. And that is why the Rebbe told Noach, Sohar ta'aseh lateva. Once we have this shine, then we have all those other pirushim, or those other explanations, as we said before, the Baal Shem Tov, Sohar ta'aseh lateva, that you should give a shine into the words of Torah and Tefillah, because this is how we get the whole world to be part of it. And therefore, this is the message from Parshas Noach, that the moment we, Baruch Hashem, had the schus of learning something, we have to go and share it with others. We all have to become leaders. A even toiva hameira lohem. Any questions? If I could share some more details about Sohar ta'aseh lateva al pi Chassidus, it's a very, very massive subject, because it's discussed in many, many Maimorim. There are many Maimorim that start with the words Sohar ta'aseh lateva, but I will give you just a one-liner, very interesting. First of all, I do suggest that besides for learning this actual Sikha and Likutei Sichos Chelik Yud, because I only said the basic point of it, but there's much more to it, there are a lot of beautiful Maimorim, especially from the previous Rebbe, Tafresh Tzad, in the year Tafresh Tzadik Aleph, Tzadik Beis, Tafshin Beis, Tafshin Zayin, beautiful Maimorim, and then the Rebbe, of course, in Tafshin Mem Zayin and in Basel Lagani, they all talk about the subject of Tzayar Tasa Lateva. But there is a letter from the Rebbe. It's in the Likutei Sichos Chelik Tes, and then also it's in the Igros Kodesh. In the year Tafresh Tzadik Aleph, 1931, the previous Rebbe said a beautiful maimer on the words Tzayar Tasa Lateva, and he actually brought in this Rashi of the Chaloin and the Even Tova, and he explained it. But the Rebbe writes in this letter to this person, he says, I'm going to share with you a gem, a margenisa, that I heard from my father-in-law just now after this maimer of Tzayar Tasa Lateva. And the previous Rebbe said as follows, you could check inside the words over there. He says, listen to how they learned this pasuk in Gan Eden. In Gan Eden Atachten, I think it says over there. Look how they learned this pasuk in Gan Eden. And it says over there like this, Tzayar Tasa Lateva. You should take the Tzayar. And over there it says, Tzayar is Meloshin Zoyhar, Meloshin shining. Give a shine to the Teva, to the words of davening and learning, etc. And then, like the pasuk continues, Ve'el amo techaleno milmala. You're going to be Zoyche. The moment you have Tzayar Tasa Lateva, you're going to get El amo techaleno milmala. To an amo, it's going to finish on the top. What does that mean to an amo is going to finish to the top? It says over there, Ve'el amo, Aleph Mem Hey, is the Rashi Tevis of the words Elokeinu Melech Ha'olam. When we are going to put a shine to the Teva, what are we going to accomplish? Elokeinu Melech Ha'olam, that the Rebbe is the king of the world. So then, Techaleno Milmaila. From Milmaila, from above, Techaleno from the word Kalim. They're going to give you the Kalim, they're going to give you the tools to be able to do everything that we have to do here in Olam Hazeh. And it continues over there. The Frierdiker Rebbe said that one time the Alter Rebbe said this line to a person, and he actually gave him Chayim Psarim Mamish. He gave him actual life. The man was, he gave him unbelievable keiches. So we see that this Tzayar Tasa Lateva has a lot of power to it, and I really suggest that we learn all these Maimorim and ultimately turn the world into a Dira B'Tachtonim, and we're all going to shine, each one in his own way, give to the world whatever we can, and this way we will end up in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, Teikef Umiyad Mamish.